everybody and welcome. And now you'll be rightly aware of my issue and why you're here, so we won't be beating around the bush with someone else's problem. E-gaming, it's an illegal activity, Mr. Cody. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, again, it's a bit like with Deputy
Now, these are binary, so
No,
let's not beat around the bush and we won't fall out.
You know, Deputy, I am here to talk about tax. So I'll tell you about the tax treatment of e-gaming.
No, don't, because what I have here is this is a PQ from the Minister. I'm informed by Revenue that it does not have any role in the regulation of online websites. I accept that. What I'm asking you is, do you consider it to be an illegal activity? Not gambling, e-gaming.
Consider it to be a vatable activity.
Is prostitution a vatable activity? It isn't. Why?
Because it's illegal.
Well, is e-gaming illegal? Is e-gaming illegal? Don't nod your head, answer the question.
No, I'll answer the question, Deputy,
yes,
but you'll have to... No, I won't answer.
Chair, now these are binary questions and I'm not going to fall out. I want a binary answer. Yes or no?
I want to allow the witness to answer the question.
Sure, it's only a yes or no he needs to say.
E-gaming is subject to VAT under EU...
That's not what I asked. Is prostitution subject to VAT?
Not under EU law.
Is drug dealing?
E-gaming is under EU law.
In Ireland is e-gaming?
E-gaming in Europe is under EU law.
You're not the revenue for Europe, you're the revenue for Ireland.
I am, and VAT is subject to EU rules, and the ECJ has ruled in relation to e-gaming, and it's vatable. And the court distinguished between certain illegality, and they distinguished between prostitution and drugs and e-gaming, and the court found that e-gaming is subject to VAT in Europe.
But in Europe?
We are in Europe, we're in the EU.
So are you telling me that the tax we gather, where does the VAT go? If the tax we gather, the VAT that we gather on e-gaming, where does it go?
The VAT we gather goes into the Irish VAT receipts, and a proportion of Irish VAT receipts funds the EU. And we're subject to EU rules, EU VAT directive, and the ECJ.
Now, I'm fully aware of all that. And I'm specifically asking a question.
But Deputy, I have no competence in determining...
Is there legislation in Ireland governing e-gaming?
The VAT treatment of e-gaming.
Well, you see...
Deputy, you won't listen to me.
I am listening. The VAT, we have not transposed the legislation from the EU that governs e-gaming.
We've covered the VAT treatment.
Well, we have VAT on an illegal activity. Yes. Therefore, why aren't we applying it to prostitution?
Because the court has distinguished between different kinds.
Prostitution and drug dealing and so...
The court has distinguished the VAT treatment between different types of illegal activity.
So, okay, but this illegal activity has some very huge consequences for families.
I'm very conscious, and I'm very conscious that the gambling...
And have you advised government on this in relation to the fact that you're gathering VAT on an illegal activity?
The government, the Department of Finance are perfectly aware that VAT is liable on e-gaming, and when
are they aware? Have you any input in relation to the fact that it is illegal?
No.
You have no input.
No.
So realistically, what I'm trying to ascertain is how you can be responsible and gather VAT on something that government haven't even legislated for. The EU has, but it's an activity that's causing unprecedented levels of damage to families that we have no control over, and you're happy to gather VAT. By actually collecting the VAT, is it 23%?
Yes.
You know, that's 23% of the misery of the 8% of people that they say in the UK. Well, we don't have stats, of course, because it's illegal, but in the UK where they have stats, 8% of suicides are attributed to online gambling.
And I know, and that's why the gambling regulation bill is going through the House.
But the gambling regulation bill doesn't go far enough, and it's 99 pages of mostly waffle. We have regulators. We had a regulator here last week.
Chairman,
do you know,
Chairman, we talk about policy.
No,
the question I asked. The question I asked.
Legislation. There is a bill going through the all.
It was in
and we have to change that. That's up to
the point is, Chair, that we are, as a revenue, Like, we're here as the Public
I get
Accounts
that.
Committee. We have a moral obligation, Mr. Cody, in which to spend the taxpayers' money correctly. We equally have a moral obligation in collecting it to afford them the protections of the state. We don't do that, but you're happy, as the chair of the Revenue Commissioners, to take 23% or add 23% to the misery of people who get involved in addiction. Per se gambling, most people, it's like drinking. They can go out and enjoy a drink, they can go off and enjoy the races. But for the percentage of people who are addicts and who destroy their own self, including their families, you're adding 23% to that, and you don't see the need for the protections afforded to the people for the collection of that 23%. You've no act or part in advising government that you... Do you know what the revenue is, by the way, on e-gaming?
We don't have we wouldn't have a breakdown of that. But
so we have an illegal activity that we don't even know what the breakdown is. We have online... We have the Gaming Act of 1956, on which the National Lottery will be in after you. You actually don't know what the revenue is, because I can tell you in the UK, who do gather the figures, 14 billion. 14 billion is what they gathered. And do you know that 60% of profits for online gambling companies were contributed by 5% of punters? Just imagine, 5% of the punters contributed 60% of the profits. Do you not see it as a serious issue?
I totally see it's a serious issue. Like, kind of one.
But not serious enough to make an informed...
Sorry, Deputy, sorry. You asked me for a binary yes or no. You spoke for about 3 minutes there, and you don't allow me speak at all.
You didn't give me the answer. You're only going to waffle.
But no.
Well,
no,
you
Deputy.
are. You are. You haven't advised government in any written format that this is not an approach we should be taking.
If we did not receive the money from online gaming that is provided through the one-stop shop in the VAT system, the Controller and Auditor General and the Public Accounts Committee should be asking me why we did not receive tax that is properly due in Ireland.
But you don't know how much it is.
But it's included in the VAT receipts.
But you know, have you any, like, you knew you were coming in here today.
We know what...
You know I've asked this question.
I'll get a figure for what we receive on the one-stop shop on e-commerce.
But sure,
and e-services.
E-commerce is not illegal.
No,
e-gaming
it's e-services.
Yeah, but that's not illegal.
Sorry, but that's just, it's included in the e-commerce figure.
In the e-services figure.
And just to try and disentangle this, right, in relation to, you know, you have to implement what's law under the Constitution here, and under what's ruled by the Oireachtas and the ECJ in this case, and obviously that's where it comes from. And just to help the deputy, that has there been, because I think she asked the question, and I'm not sure if there was no answer given to it. In relation to the question, have you, I understand that you have to collect it, right? I get that. I think the committee accept that. But have you advised government about that, or advised the minister about that? That we are.
Well, Chair, no. I think the distinction here that needs to be made, and the Commissioner well understands it. We have criminal activity of which you're collecting VAT on, and it's quite okay. Isn't that what you're saying? Because it's under an EU directive.
I'm saying under EU law we have to collect it.
But do you agree it's criminal activity?
I have not a view. I'm not the Department of Justice. I'm not a legal person.
Well, there's more. I mean, the Department of Justice issue a cert, and that's given to those who are providing the illegal activity for purpose of providing online gambling, but they move in to e-gaming, which is illegal. So I don't hold you accountable for that.
It's not regulated.
What I am saying to you is this.
Regulated.
But the difference is now I'm talking about the criminal law now for 1 second, right? So you are quite an astute individual. Is e-gaming an illegal activity for the purposes of the criminal law?
It's not regulated.
Therefore, it's illegal. End of the story. Now, the point is...
I don't know,
Chair, Mr. Cody, you have just said it's unregulated. Now, I'll let you answer in a second. It's unregulated. And under a moral code, the revenue commissioners responsible for gathering funds for the public exchequer is taking 23% VAT on a criminal activity.
And we take income tax from criminal activity.
And what? We disperse CAB As a result, 9 times out of 10, we disperse CAB. We don't disperse CAB out to e-gaming organisations.
CAB collect income tax on illegal activity. I don't know, Chairman.
So do you collect VAT on illegal activities that CAB are responsible for?
It depends what
It doesn't depend because it's not.
We actually do. If you want an example, I can give you an example.
Well, I don't want to spend more time on this. And I think the reality is that
do you want an example? Do you want an example?
We'll come back. No, I don't need an example.
Chairman,
what I needed was.
Can I give an example of where we collect VAT on illegal activity? Laundered fuel. We collect VAT and excise on laundered fuel.
Yeah, I accept that, but the difference is you do your utmost. Somebody does their utmost.
We do our utmost to collect tax.
No,
that's what our job is.
Somebody does their utmost to ascertain where the laundered fuel is coming from.
Yes,
there is nobody enforcing the current law in relation to e-gaming that is decimating lives, and as chair of the Revenue Commissioners, you haven't even put anything in writing to government to say we should regulate this situation.
Deputy,
have you?
I'll tell you.
Have you? That's a yes or no answer.
I was at a meeting 14 years ago about
the
introduction. Yes, we have been consistently, because what usually happens with parliamentary questions, we get asked about responsibilities that we have no responsibility for, and we have set out, and we work closely on the new bill.
See that?
We would like to see the new bill implemented.
You're able to publish guidelines in relation to VAT on e-gaming.
Because we're obliged
to. I didn't see you publish what you sent to government in relation to the fact it's an unregulated business. And unregulated meaning criminal activity. And I'd appreciate that you would take it a little more seriously.
I take it very seriously.
He's accepted that there's an issue of criminal law.
Well, I'll be coming back in.
There's an issue of criminal law here, but could you just clarify the answer to the question in relation to the 23%? Because there's a moral issue. There's no doubt about that. There is a moral issue here, but what you're saying is that revenue is caught in this situation where you have to implement what's in front of you, what's put in front of you. Could I ask you, just in relation to advice to government, does any advice go to government, or is our ministers are in government notified of the actual amount that's coming in through e-gaming?
The chair just said he didn't know
what the amount was.
I wouldn't say so, but okay. I don't know, Dermot, do you want to add anything, because you engage with the department on?
Not particularly on that, but yes, we do collect VAT on e-gaming, and we've been collecting it through the MOS system since 2015, and we can't separate the figures that are paid over. We can't. There's no way of doing it.
The UK can, because it's regulated. Proper governance, yeah. And I'm sure,
regulated, but not by Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs.
It's in the greater e-commerce piece.